A long time ago, in 2010, Bitcoin was worth just 1 cent. And since that moment, Bitcoin has been on kind of a journey. Now, let's not forget that Bitcoin's been in a few bubbles. As you can see, it'll just grow and grow and grow exponentially until it reaches the top, and people that want to buy Lamborghinis sell it. And they sell, and they sell, and they sell, and they sell. And as this goes down, everybody piles in, everybody piles in, everybody piles in. Oh my God, it's going to zero. Not quite. Went to $2. Which is still a hell of a lot more than a penny or 5 cents, right? So even with the crash, Bitcoin kept growing right into the crash. And in fact, it kept rallying. And next thing you know, I'm not going to keep doing this. Next thing you know, right, we're in another bubble. And this time, ooh-wee, it goes to 268. A lot of selling happens. We reach a new bottom at $65. And instead of stopping there, it continues forward. Jesus, okay, goodness, gotta squish it down up here. All right, it keeps going to 1,170 something. From $200 right here, $2 down here, and 2 cents down here. That's what happened. And then selling. Okay, cashing in for Lambos. Boom. It crashes from over 1,200 all the way back down to 160 something dollars. People that bought at the top then felt really stupid, really bad, and they swore off Bitcoin forever. But I tell you what, it's a hell of a lot more than 65. It's 165 now. So even when it bottomed out, that created a higher low, right? No matter how stupid all these people feel, it was adopted enough between then and here that this basic adoption curve, they couldn't drive it any lower. That's the lowest it could go. That's why it went that low. Otherwise, it would have went lower. Now, a lot of people have misconceptions about Bitcoin, and because they're looking at stock charts, they sort of come to think of it like a stock. But it's not, right? It's not. Now, it's a new technology, and every new technology has an adoption curve. So just type in technology adoption. All you're going to see is these growth curves. And as you can see, it's made up of innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards, right? And there's different names for these different populations and when they join in, right? But they all join in. Now, they create what's called an S-curve. And if you look at this image here, you can see that they all make an S shape. As they move upwards, they start slowly, then they ramp up, gain momentum, and then level off, right? That always happens. And there's often S curves within S curves. You'll see little wigglies here. That's kind of an S curve within an S curve, right? And that's how it goes. That's kind of a punctuated equilibrium, right? And the thing is, the pace of adoption is speeding up. So it took a long time for the telephone and electricity and cars and radio and refrigerators and clothes washers and clothes dryers and air conditioning for all that to be invented and then adopted took decades. The internet took just a couple decades. The cell phone, 1 decade. Bitcoin isn't going to take that long, and we are smack dab in the middle of a huge S-curve. Right? This is happening. Bitcoin can be on this list. Started in 2000. It'll be over on the right-hand side. That's what's happening. Now, as this is happening, the early adopters, right? Let's look at this. Here it is. Let's type in the S-curve here. All right. All right, so as it happens, so Bitcoin's been fermenting, right? And we haven't even hit takeoff. I believe that we are about to hit takeoff because the innovators are the ones that bought up Bitcoin when it was a few cents, a few dollars. Early adopters bought it in a few thousands. And we're heading into the early majority, which is going to take it to its next all-time high. So this is what's happening. And if you think that we've reached maturity in only 10 years, Bitcoin might not be adopted as fast as cell phones or the internet because it's competing with governments, money and stuff. And luckily, it is moving faster than governments can keep up with banning it. So after the next bubble, another bubble that takes Bitcoin over 100,000. I mean, it'll be here to stay after that. There's nothing governments can do, right? So anyway, this is happening though, right? So in 2017, another bubble popped, right? And it happens, right? This is the Wall Street cheat sheet. It shows the emotions that occur during bubble cycles. Now, I'll tell you how bubbles are created. There are very wealthy individuals and groups and corporations that have a lot of money, and they are able to move the price of an asset a certain amount, to a certain extent. Let me repeat that. They can move the price to a certain extent. They have to be crafty about it because traders are trading against them and they can't make it easy, right? Market maker's job is to make the markets go up and down. So they are actually hired by coins that come out, ICOs and stuff. They hire market makers to come in and create bubbles and liquidity and to create a market. That's their job. Now, they don't do it for free. They rake in a ton of coin by manipulating the emotions of retail investors. And they're able to do this because of asymmetry of information. The market makers know the inventory levels, right? They fill up their warehouse down at the bottom or the mean because bubbles always revert to the mean. And that's when they accumulate. And then they create FOMO by buying it up really fast when they're ready to move the price up. Then they move the price up. They create FOMO. Retail traders pile in, not wanting to miss out on the opportunity to take their family to Disney World and live a good life. And all their hopes and dreams, they place their bets on it and they pile in. And then over time it builds, and people tell their friends about it, and it builds and it builds, and everybody's got to have it. And next thing you know, everybody's talking about it. And what do the market makers do? Every now and then they'll sell a little bit. They'll buy it up more, drive the price up more, sell a little bit. So, and that's what creates these levels. They build it up like a house. And then once it's up, they sell, and then they slowly bring the price back down. They do this slowly to mess with your head. They do it slowly to basically gaslight you, make you think you're crazy. But really, there are people behind the scenes, right? You can yell market manipulation all you want, but without them, there's no volatility. There would just be a mellow growth curve. Like, it would just curve up. It wouldn't be that volatile, right? There'd be nothing to trade against, really. I mean, it'd be almost pointless. So that's why they exist. That's why this happens. It's not evil. It's neutral, but it just goes to show you the more money you have, the easier it is to suck up more wealth, man. It's just, anyway, don't fall into their traps. You want to ride their coattails, right? You want to be smart money like they are. What is this? Sorry about that. All right, let's get back over to this price chart. So as you can see, Bitcoin grows even more exponentially within these bubbles, and then it reverts back to its original growth curve. So here we are, and it popped back down to 3,160 roughly, but that's higher than 1,200 some, right? So it's doubling every time it pops. All right, now this bear market rally that we're in right now, I believe that there is just so much fervor in this market that the market makers, they sold off. They brought the market down to the 3,000 level. They accumulated, and when they were ready to bring the market up, I believe that this was both a test and an ignition candle. So this is a massive FOMO candle. This is a massive FOMO candle that ignited another small bull run. But there was no intention to let this one go. They're not done accumulating. This was just a money grab. That's all it was. They know what's happening. So anytime that they can accumulate and then sell here, then they got more money to buy on the way up. So as you can see, I think we might have found our bottom here at 6,500. Because guess what? That's a lot more than 3,200. It's higher. It could still drop a little bit, but I don't see it going below 5,700 maybe max, which tracks, right? It tracks with the trend. And when we're doing technical analysis, we got to focus on trends. Not just these trends ups and down in the bubbles, but we got to be smarter than that. We got to realize that Bitcoin is not a stock, right? Bitcoin it's a brand new asset class, right? So now when we look at it on a regular chart, it's a new technology. It's so much more than just a new stock, right? It's so much more. That's why it's worth 7,000 right now, and that's nothing. People thought 1,200 was massive, and look at it down here, looking like a piddly little bump in the road. And this caused people so much anxiety right here, right? But look at this. This is an exponential growth curve. Look at that. Look at that. It looks like an exponential curve about to take off like something you've never seen before. I mean, this is insane. It's insane. Now, let's look at it from a logarithmic perspective, right? What does a parabola look like? All right. On a logarithmic chart, right? This is a parabolic function right here. This is what they look like. And that is an exponential function. All right, let's look at this middle right here. You see this curve? That is, it's the inverse of this. Let me see if I can. See, a logarithmic parabola. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. You think Bitcoin's ready to crash from this? It's a mathematical. Let's put this on log, and you'll see the shape that it makes. Right? Let's make it even more clear for you. Look at this one. Look at this. What does that look like to you? Right? Bitcoin is in a pattern, an exponential pattern growth curve. And it's like a freight train, right? Nothing has interrupted that, right? We have our periods of accumulation. We have our growth curve. This is the mean. Bubble revert to mean. I'm just trying to walk you through my thinking here. All right, mean reversion. That's when bubbles go up, and then they want to go back to the mean of growth, right? They don't just pop into nothing, right? That's not how it works. Actually, a good example of this is Dow Jones. All right, this is why the dollar isn't worth much. This is what's happening. I mean, look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average here. We're on the monthly chart. Okay. All right, this is a logarithmic chart. This purple line here in the middle is basically the mean. And since this is a logarithmic chart, when I take it onto a normal chart, it looks like a parabola, right? Just like Bitcoin, right? And this is an unstoppable freight train too. It's always gone up, even when it goes down. But the thing is, working class people don't have enough money to survive their job losses and purchase assets. So for people that are able to cover their basic expenses and have extra, they are able to purchase into these crashes and take advantage of crashes. Revert to the mean as well. Okay? That's how it works. All right. Goodness gracious. Getting fired up here. I'm excited. This is just how it works. Look at this. Right? It's a parabola. Let's go back here. Trading views being annoying. Look at this. It's a parabola. What do you think is going to happen, man? Well, who do you think is going to win? Like some market makers trying to sell off some coin. You think they can sell it enough to drop it? They can't, or they would have done it here. They would have done it here at 3,000. They would have dropped it to 1,000 if they could. Bitcoin was a hyperwave. Bitcoin is a hyperwave, but it's unlike anything else we've seen. It's technology being adopted. It is a hyperwave. It's a special one. That couldn't go back down to 1,000. It was supposed to, but Bitcoin's not following those rules. It's not following the same rules. All right, so take a look at this. What does this look like? This is why I'm bullish as hell right here. Look at this. We are in a symmetrical triangle here. Make them both, all right? We are in a symmetrical triangle. Oops. What does that look like? Right, because this is what it really should look like. This is how much of a rocket ship Bitcoin is, right? Doesn't that look like a flagpole up? We move down and sideways, and then boom, another flagpole. I mean, so that is a bullish pattern. No one is talking about. Just something to think about. Now let's talk about this RSI and why it may not drop all the way to the bottoms in the like 43, 44 region on the monthly here. Why might it not drop? I mean, think about it for a second. This was the bottom. This is the start of a new bull run. Right? No one says this has to go down. This doesn't have to be a full bubble that pops all the way. This could just be a money grab on the way up. And that makes a lot of sense. So market makers have been selling off, right? But is it going to be enough pressure to overcome this adoption trend? Because it's not just small fries that are buying dollar cost averaging every month. Very, very, very wealthy people are buying a ton of Bitcoin every month. They don't want to shoot the price up too much, right? But they're accumulating nonstop, right? I'm looking at are we looking at the same chart? Look, people have been accumulating this stuff, man, and they're not slowing down. They are not slowing down. Yeah, there's been enough selling, but I don't see it. Look at crypto Twitter. Look at all you guys on crypto Twitter. You guys buy it. I see thousands and thousands and thousands of people just in English, right? Just buying more and more and more and holding throughout it all. They don't care. They'll hold it till the day they die. Right? I mean, look. It's not going to take much. Are you kidding me? We went from the 3,000 to 14,000 in just half a year. 6 months. $3,000 to $14,000 in 3 months. That is how chomping at the bit crypto crackheads are. Right? You can make fun of the Moon Boys all you want, but as far as I can see from the charts, there is a lot supporting hodling and trading big swings like this. Buy when market makers are buying in the green zone here. within this accumulation zone. When the price is down here, it's a good buy. Expect it to bubble back up. This is going to create a huge bubble. Right here, I bet you anything it'll travel along here. Then at some point, I mean, it's gonna reach 10,000, right? And then once it reaches 10,000 again, I mean, even less people will let it go because it will have hit 10,000 for a third time. A third time. It's just a short trip to 14 and then another short jog to 20. I mean, if you can't see that here, how bullish this looks, and these are monthly candles. This is every single price data point for Bitcoin for 10 years almost. Like, why on earth would you be calling for 3 or 1,000 right now? Where is that selling going to come from? Nobody, pun intended, nobody's buying. I mean, people are still buying. People aren't buying that idea, though, because they still accumulate Bitcoin. And this is a worldwide phenomenon. It's not slowing down, man. The proof is in the pudding. I'm showing it to you right here. Anyway, that's all I got to say about Bitcoin right now. I hope this helps.